Hello, friends. Welcome back to In My Car. This is take two of In the Car with Star on this Mail It In Tuesday. I've been off for a week. Threw my back out last Saturday. It's the fun thing about getting old, you guys. 43 years young. Still feel, though, like a teenager inside, but my body just doesn't react that way anymore, right? Like, throw my back out. I hit a tee shot on wet grass. I slipped, wrenched my lower back. On the sidelines, I shit you not, for 4 full days. 4 days laid out on my back. And then by some stroke of medical miracle, I am up and at 'em again, and my back kind of recovered. I don't know how to explain it, my friends, but it's been a weird week. Like a lot of you, I was floored that Tony Marinaro decided to call it a career at TSN 690. You know, I've worked with Tony for 20 years. I was the one that auditioned with Marinaro back on Green Avenue. Our radio station at the time, Team 990, was located at 1310 Green Avenue. We shared a floor with Shom FM when Shom at the time was owned by Chum Radio. So our studio was on one side, Oldies 990. Shom FM was literally across the hall, right? And so Tony had been approached by our general manager, Wayne Buse. Tony was a hockey pool ringer. And our general manager, Wayne Buse, would go to Tony and say, let's team up, and they would go and win these hockey pools. So Tony obviously had a vast knowledge of the National Hockey League and the point producers and everything else. And so Wayne said, why don't you come try your hand at radio and see if you could be a post-game guy? And so Tony Marinaro and I, we worked together. We did an audition in the Shom studio. And it is a funny anecdote, right? We're doing the audition. Melnick's watching me. Wayne Buse, our general manager, is watching both of us, and this is off the air. It's an audition show to see how Tony and I would do together as the co-hosts of the post-game show for the Montreal Canadiens. And like I often do, I made some mistake. I said something incorrectly. I forget the name of the player, but I said, oh, this player wears 18. And right away, Tony goes, no, Sean, that player wears 21, whatever it was, right? And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm auditioning in front of two people that are basically going to make or break whether or not I do this. And I've already screwed up the audition by getting a fact wrong, right? And as history tells us, everything was okay. Tony and I started working together as the first host of the Canadiens postgame show, right? This was when CJAD 800 had the rights to the Montreal Canadiens. So, you know, TSN 690 is born as an all-sports radio station, and we don't have any property rights other than the Montreal Expos. That was the first thing that ever hit the air in the history of our radio station, was Montreal Expo baseball. And so we don't have the rights to the Canadiens. And so Tony and I are doing the post-game show, and we're taking phone calls, and we're just shredding the team, shredding them, because we don't have the rights, so we can basically say whatever we want, right? And it turned into something that people liked. And I'll never forget this, because I'm at the press box, my first year doing the post-game show with Marinaro, and I go downstairs after watching the game from the press row. You go downstairs to Jacques Beauchamp Lounge, right? You get a drink, you get a hot dog, you shoot the shit with all the other media people. And so I'm waiting in the line for a hot dog, as one should do. And Dino Sisto used to be the play-by-play man of the Montreal Canadiens for CJAD 800. And Dino Sisto comes, he taps me, he goes, Sean. I go, hey, what's up, Dino? And he's like, thank you for taking all our calls, because Dino hated doing the post-game show. He was the play-by-play guy, and once the game was over, he didn't want to do anything else. And so our post-game show was raw, was young, was hosted by two guys that no one ever knew of before. Like, think about this. I'm 43 years old. I'm hosting this post-game show, and this is 21 years ago. I'm 22 years old, right? And I'm doing this show. I know sports. I know hockey. I've been following the Canadiens in the NHL my entire life, but I've very little radio experience. So they turn the keys over to these two young bucks, and off to the races we go. And Tony and I got along great, and we get along. We get along very well, off the air and on the air. But what's interesting, right? I have two regrets, professionally speaking. Two professional regrets. One, I don't know how many people know about this. Melnick in the afternoon is Melnick in the afternoon. He's Mitch Melnick. He's a bleeping icon, right? But at the time, the morning show was Mitch Melnick, myself, Ted Blackman, Kathy Newton as the producer, and the same people I talked about earlier, Wayne Buse and Mitch Melnick. They come up to Tony Marinaro and I and say, "Listen, we want you guys to be the drive time show. We want you guys to host Afternoon Drive." And again, I'm in my early 20s. A thing about me, I didn't ooze confidence in my early 20s. I was a bit insecure for a lot of different reasons, for which I'm not going to get into right here because I'm just going to ramble on and on and on. And so I didn't feel secure enough in my ability to do that. And I guess if I'm being honest with you, I was afraid to fail, of which I am no longer afraid to fail. I learned that. It took me a little bit longer in my life to be able to understand that failure is okay as an option, as long as you learn from what happened, right? But that's definitely a regret of mine that I didn't get a chance to do that with Tony. Who knows what would have happened, right? Because what happened was I say thanks, but no thanks to that. So I stick on the mornings. I'm doing mornings with Elliot and Denny Cassavant and then Ted Bird later. But Tony did the drive show with Joey Elias. And Joey Elias is going to be on the air tomorrow as soon as I sign off with the morning show with Sean Campbell. So it's amazing, 2+ decades later, and things sometimes come full circle. So I'll end my bit on Marinaro on this. I'm gonna miss Tony. He's a great guy. I'm speaking to him like he's dead. I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss his presence. He was a character. Tony's just a pure character. I tell people all the time, Tony to me on the radio, speaking only as a broadcaster on the radio, Tony's a wrestler to me. And that's when I listen to his program, I think of wrestling. I think of pure entertainment, right? I think of entertainment. I think of how fans relate to that, how fans would react, taking calls, taking texts, ripping on the Bruins, ripping on the Leafs, ripping on their fans. I mean, Montreal radio, as much as I love it, and it's my career, and I hope to do it until I can retire, Montreal radio doesn't have, on the Anglo side anyway, I don't listen to a lot of French radio, on the Anglo side anyway, we don't have a Marinaro anymore. You know what I mean? Like, think about, if you're a certain age, think about personalities on the air that you watched over your life, right? Or listened to, I should say. Ted Teven, Mitch Melnick. Like, we've had great broadcasters, zany broadcasters, Gabriel Morency on the overnight. This guy was born to do overnight radio. And Tony was meant to do his midday show. Right after the morning show signed off, this guy would go after it and rip on the Bruins and rip on Jack Edwards and rip on everybody associated with the team, taking calls, shitting on the radio, WEEI. I mean, it was all gold, man. It was gold. And we don't have that anymore. And I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what's going to happen next. But I do know it's a hole. I do know it's a hole that we will fill, and we will do it well, and we'll adjust, and we will continue to thrive and press forward, as we always do. Evolve or die, right, boys? And so that's what we're going to do. I wish Tony a little bit of success, not a lot of, not radio success. I hope his podcast does well. And, he made a decision, and I respect the guts that it took to make a call like that. And I wish his podcast nothing but the best. I hope the morning show sucks balls. I hope it's terrible. Obviously, I'm not going to listen. Obviously, it's competing against my own show. And so in that regard, Tony, if you're watching me right now, I wish you no radio success, zero radio success. But I do wish you podcast success, my friend. You deserve it. And you entertain us for a long time, man. So that's what I'm going to say about that when it comes to my pal, Tony Marinaro. I'm going to have some best bets as far as Major League Baseball is concerned tonight. I've got my parlay of the night. But let's talk for a second about the Montreal Canadiens hiring a Marie-Philippe Poulin. I mean, we talk about Clutch Jeans. This young woman from La Beauce in La Grande Région du Québec is an absolute superstar. This young woman was born to captain Canada. She was born to score goals and born to be a hockey player. And I'm very excited. I think this is an exceptionally smart hire. I think more perspectives, more unique perspectives. I think it would be a massive mistake to be ignorant to Marie-Philippe Poulin's skill set and suggest, even for a microsecond, that what she can do with the puck and her hockey IQ does not translate, does not compute to the National Hockey League. Incorrect, my friends. Go look at some of the quotes, especially one from Paul Byron and what he had to say about Marie-Philippe Poulin and what she brings to the organization. You talk about speed, you talk about angles, you talk about deception, vision, what she thinks, what she sees, what she feels, how she reacts and adapts when she's out there on the ice. More opinions are better. Less yes men. Less people looking at this situation and say, well, we better fall in line because the general manager wants a certain answer. We're going to give him what he wants to hear. Erroneous. Let's get away from that. So tip of the cap to the Montreal Canadiens. Marie-Philippe Poulin will speak in just over an hour. It's 2:52 right now. She's going to speak at 4 o'clock. TSN 690 will have full coverage of that. So tune in just over an hour's time if you're not already listening, and you can hear her perspective. And again, so this is not a full-time position. It's a part-time position because she's still a player. She still has a playing career to look after. Unfortunately for the Edmonton Oilers, they got nothing but tea times and afterthoughts to pour over when it comes to what happened in their 4-game sweep. Absolutely cracked by the Colorado Avalanche, losing a rather hectic game, I thought. 6-5 in overtime on an Artturi Lehkonen game winner. Second consecutive year, Artturi Lehkonen has sent his team to the Western Conference Final. He did it when he helped beat Vegas in overtime last year, sending the Canadiens to the Stanley Cup, and of course doing it last night with the Colorado Avalanche. Looked like a goal that was a high stick to me, but too bad, too sad. Who cares? Move on. The Avalanche do move on as heavy favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Like, I'm a big believer in learning to lose before you learn to win. We've seen it with Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. We saw it with Ovechkin and the Capitals. We've seen it with the Tampa Bay Lightning. We saw it with the Boston Bruins. So we've seen it several times, and I think now it's the Colorado Avalanche's turn to learn to lose and now close the deal. But I'll tell you this other little thing watching the playoffs so far. I got a little man crush on the New York Rangers. I love the way they play. I like Chris Kreider. I like Adam Fox. I like Igor Shesterkin. I like the Breadman. I like Zibanejad. I mean, this is a deep, fast, heavy, fun team to watch. So, like, the fanboy in me is kind of cheering for the New York Rangers to close the deal. And as far as a future bet, I might take the New York Rangers, get a little value because there's really no value. I think the last time I saw the Avalanche, they were minus like 240 to win the Stanley Cup. So you're laying a little bit of juice if you're going to back the Stanley Cup. But look, a winner's a winner if you're backing the Colorado Avalanche. But maybe pay a little bit of attention to seeing what the Florida Panthers. That was my team. God, they sucked. Have a little love maybe for the New York Rangers, and we'll see what they're up to. In the meantime, it's time for our best bets of the night. Let's go to 9:45 tonight. We've got the Colorado Rockies and the San Francisco Giants. When you break down the side of this game, it's obvious to me the one play and the one play only would be for a lot of runs, beaucoup de runs. The Giants, for what it's worth, are the second most profitable team for overs in baseball this season. The Giants are second. The Rockies are fourth. So we have a total set at over under 7.5 runs. So we only need 8. And get this, when we look at the Giants' last homestand, we had totals of 16, 25, and 12. Tonight, as I said, we only need 8. So the Rockies' bullpen has been pretty bad for a little bit. The Giants aren't that far behind in terms of lack of effectiveness when it comes to the bullpen closing out games. So the Giants had the day off. Relief pitching is not bad, so I still like the over in this game at over 7.5. Looking for the parlay of the night again. You know, I'm not the biggest parlay guy, but if you want to put them together, we're getting about 5.5 to 1 on this bet in a return for your dollar spent. But I am more of a singles player in terms of, you know, putting money on a game or two. So, like, get this, like, you know, if I give you a 3-team parlay and you decide to parlay them all and I go 2 for 3 with my picks and you put them all together, that's a loser every time, 100% of the time. But if we go 2 for 3 with our picks, we're going to make a little bit of money. So I'm going to leave that up to you to decide what you feel like doing. This is only advice that I'm giving. Again, stay within your limits. We're only having fun. We're not paying the bills by sprinkling a few dollars on a ball game. So my best bet of the night is over 7.5 runs with the Rockies playing at San Francisco. My parlay of the night, again, is a 3-team MLB parlay, and that's the Cubs, the Tigers, and the Dodgers to win. And look, I mean, the Dodgers have done what the Dodgers do all season. The White Sox have been a disappointment, especially when we talk about their expectations in the preseason. They have definitely underachieved this year. The Dodgers have lost 5 of 7. That's a slump for them. The White Sox have not been able to turn things around point for now. They're 3-6 in their last 9 games. They have won back-to-back, but they followed up with losses in 7 of their last 9. So in a situation like this, I'm going to lean on the more reliable, consistent team, and that's the LA Dodgers to win. I like the Tigers with Tarek Skubal on the mound today. He's in the race for the Cy Young Award in the American League. All he has to do is just keep it up, give us a quality start today, and I think the Tigers win. And our best bet are the Cubbies, who aren't a very good team, but they're interesting, given that they're around 500 on the road, which is a good thing if we're back in the Cubbies, who aren't that good at Wrigley Field. They've also put on runs. They put up runs on the board, 11th in scoring and 28th in quality starts. So we'll see what happens with the Cubbies. That's our little bit of a long shot, but we're going to back the Cubs, the Tigers, and the Dodgers in our three-team parlay with baseball tonight. I was sweating so much. I got all my console's all sweaty now. So yeah, that's what we're doing when we do it, my friends. Thanks for tuning in. It's nice to be back. It was also nice to get a little bit of a break. Steph Howard's up in the comments. What it do? Tony had a great pulse for the audience. I would say in his own way, Connor has a bit of a marinara in his own way, of course. Yeah, that's fair. You know, like I said, Tony always came across to me as like a show for the people, by the people kind of thing. I don't know if I see that. Connor's more like come at you with some good takes, and just a different style altogether. Igor Shesterkin says Steph Howard, best name for a goalie of all time. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and share the podcast, like it, subscribe. I don't know anymore. I don't know. You do whatever you do, as long as we're here together. I'm good with all that. I'll see you later in the week. Don't forget our best bets today. The best bet is over 7.5 in the Rockies and Giants. We'll parlay the Cubbies, the Dodgers, and the Tigers. Okay? Have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you later.